those cows and sheep. You're gonna have rats, right? They got fleas. So that's the way a lot of diseases. And to some extent, old is new. You have a lot of people now who have backyard flocks of chickens and animals in town, right? A lot of them have chickens in the backyard, okay? A lot of them have sheep and goats in the backyard. So the proximity is coming. People have pet pigs in the house right now, potbelly. So that's the way you get transmission of disease from human to man. Especially pigs have what? Swine influenza and chicken. So that's what I'm pointing out. We're going to talk about a couple of diseases now. And one of them is rinderpest. It's caused by a morbillivirus. Anybody know what it's caused by morbillivirus? What that disease? Heteroid. What about dogs? Canine and stomach. Now this disease was originally present in India. It is the first, just like smallpox has been eradicated in man worldwide, this is the first disease that's been eradicated worldwide. Animal disease has been eradicated worldwide. Morbillivirus. Rinderpest has been eradicated worldwide. And this is a disease that led to the establishment of OIE. Now, in 19th century Africa, about 90% of the ruminants in Africa became infected with rinderpest. And how did rinderpest get to Africa from India? Well, basically colonization. When England had colonies in what? India, and they took some of those same animals and took them to Africa, and therefore they spread rinderpest there. So it affected all ruminants. 9% of them included what? Wildebeest, water buffalo, giraffe. They were decimated. You think about animal extinction. There were a lot of giraffes in Africa in the 19th century. As a result, that a third of the people in Ethiopia and in Tanzania, particularly in Namasai, died because they live off what? Cattle. Cattle were ruminants. You got rinderpest. Then to make things worse, you got overgrowth of grass, tsetse flies flourish, and they spread what? Trypanosomiasis, which can cause blindness. So you had a natural disaster there because of this. This was rinderpest that started all this mess, okay? Yes?
This might be a weird question. Does people ever eat giraffes?
I'm sure they have, yes.
Okay, I just think you know.
Yeah, I'm sure they eat giraffe. If people eat primates, they eat giraffes, yes. Okay. Well, it's a ruminant, right? Just you probably get a lot more steaks out of it, bigger steaks anyway. But okay. Any questions? Does anyone need more time? Okay. A couple of diseases, we'll talk about West Nile virus. West Nile, which is caused by a flavivirus. And it was originally in West Africa, North Africa, and it was transmitted by mosquitoes. When this first occurred, basically a ship from Israel came to New York. And it had mosquitoes that had the virus in it. And then It spread to the birds in New York, okay? And before it affected humans, a lot of birds were falling in the sky, and there was a veterinary pathologist there, and she called up CDC in different places and told them, there is something going on with these birds that's unusual. They got severe encephalitis. Well, she had a little rough personality, and so they don't listen to her, and she told them where to go and all that, so they ignored her. But then after a while, it started affecting people. Then they came back to her. What were you saying now? The same they were seeing in humans with encephalitis, meningitis. And from there, if they got on it earlier, they probably could have stopped it in New York, but they didn't. So it overwintered, and then it spread throughout the U.S. Horses can get a fatal encephalitis with it, just like humans, but they don't get a high enough level to transmit it to an animal, but they can be infected. This is West now. What one of those hepatitis, what other disease we talk about that's caused by flavivirus? We talked about some diseases earlier that's caused by flavivirus. What was it? Hep C, right? And what was the other one? Dengue fever. Very good. Who said that? Who's the dengue fever man? Very good. Dengue fever.
Exports?
I was watching, what was it, Bewitched last night. And there's the episode where the man witch goes to this food court, and a young lady comes up and smiles at him, and then his wife makes her say what she really wants to say, and she said, "Oh, I have Hep C, hepatitis C." So then he walks away. But anyway, never know where Hep C may come up. Okay, foot and mouth disease. Aphthovirus, again, livestock, clover-free animals, and wildlife. Highly contagious. We talked about it, right? Trade restrictions, and expensive eradication costs. Much like rinderpest, when they had an outbreak of foot and mouth disease in Africa in the 20th century, it was decided that all cloven foot animals would be killed. So when they kill all cloven foot animals, what did the lions have to eat? So what they do? They started hunting humans. So they preyed on humans. So the effects of some of these diseases can be watched with, and that's what happened. Okay? Okay? Does anyone need more time on this time? Valley fever is caused by a flebovirus from the family Bunyividae, and it's mosquito transmission. Mosquito transmission. This is a disease that will affect ruminants and also humans. And in ruminants and humans, it causes abortion, neonatal death, and there's no human transmission. It's transmitted via what? Mosquitoes, humans. Much like flavivirus in humans. The concentration of the virus doesn't get high enough in humans that it can be transmitted from one human to another. But when it's transmitted to mosquitoes, it can't be. Now, this outbreak occurs after heavy rainfalls, especially in Kenya, where the Rift Valley is. From Kenya, Saudi Arabia, all the way down to South Africa. And basically get a lot of flu-like symptoms, liver disease and CNS. And abortion is a prominent part of this, okay? The mosquito that transmits that is in the U.S. So if this virus were to get to the U.S., just like West Nile virus would, you have the same effect. You could have Rift Valley fever in the U.S., okay? What else is going on in Rift Valley these days? Anybody know? Doesn't have anything to do with disease, but there's a big split right through the Rift Valley. There's I think it's about 10 feet wide, but they think it's going to break off from the rest of Africa over time because it's become a big split all the way down from Kenya down to Southern Africa, I think. So it really is going to be a Rift Valley. Rift? Come on, Rift Valley. Okay, anyone need more time? This is my favorite influenza, caused by what? Orthomyxovirus. You can have them. The influenza is primarily associated with several species. Because humans, poultry, man, should be horses there. Waterfowl, poultry, man, and horses, and cats too. But so what you're going to find, the hemoglobin 5 is usually found in this species. H3N8, the hemoglobin 3, is used in dogs and horses. Because the one in dogs is due to a mutation of the virus that was in what? Horses. Okay. The H3N8. Okay. And pigs and humans is H1N1, humans and pigs. Now, when this occurred a few years ago, they didn't want to call it the swine flu because it had components of poultry and man, but it was the swine flu. Why they don't want to call it swine flu? Because people want to stop eating what? Swine, okay? Always the danger with this H5N1 is highly pathogenic to humans. Highly pathogenic. And it's almost always present in the U.S. because wherever you have waterfowl, waterfowl can take in viruses from any other species, and they get in their butt, in their guts, they resort, and then they come out with a virus that is extremely pathogenic to humans. But most of the time, these ducks is just flying from one waterway to another, and they don't come in contact with commercial birds. But when they do, there's a disaster about to happen. And that's what happened with the last influenza outbreak, okay? People raising ducks up in Oregon, that they were letting the ducks go down to the pond, come back, and they sold them as organic ducks for about $20 each. But one time they went down to the pond, some ducks that flew in were there, okay? And from there, you got this change of the virus and it spread throughout the U.S. So, always a problem with ducks, okay? Okay. I point this out on an example. This is Nepal virus of Malaysia. It's a paramyxovirus. You see it in pigs and humans. Pigs and humans. Now, this disease has always been in fruit bats, okay? But this is a disease they call a disease of encroachment, okay? Normally, fruit bats have this disease, and they were out in the wild. No problem, okay? But when they started to encroach upon some of the forests and jungles in Malaysia and Singapore, was what happened is that these fruit bats would then grab fruits and they would drop the fruit down into hog pens. The hogs would eat them. And then they would come down with this virus disease. They cause neurologic signs, respiratory and neurologic signs and lesion. Okay? Then humans would deal with the pig, and guess what? Humans would get it. So this is one of the diseases that's caused by encroachment. Okay? As long as those fruit bats are in the forest, eating fruits, dropping them to the ground, there was no problem. But when you start, civilization came there, that's one of the problems. And this virus is carried by healthy fruit bats, much like bats with what? Rabies. Bats can carry stuff, they're resistant to stuff, and they can carry stuff, okay? Well, a similar case a few years ago when bats were carrying a Kalisha virus that then affected camels, and some people eat camels too. So it started a worldwide pandemic with that Kalisha virus too. But that's what happened, disease of encroachment. And last, infectious salmon anemia in Chile. They farm raise salmon in Chile. And some of these have become infected with an orthomyxovirus, to the influenza. And what has happened is that not only is it affecting those animals that's been farm raised, but then it started affecting some of those salmon that were not farm raised. Because you got them out of the ocean, raised them. Some of them got loose and it's been spread to other salmon in the area. And this is transmitted by louse. Now, much of this morning, I want to point out that there are diseases that what we call emerging diseases. These are not very common diseases. Every year or two, there's a few new emerging diseases that begin to produce more death in both animals and the humans. And most times they're transmitted to humans because they're in close proximity to these animals, okay? Those are emerging and exotic diseases. We'll do one last slide, and then we'll call it quits, okay? I'm going to point that. One thing I want to point out is that 60% of human infectious diseases are caused by multiple host pathogens. That means that 60% of human diseases are basically zoonotic diseases, okay? These will affect multiple hosts. So sometimes you just can't separate out human disease of animal, because 60% of them are multiple hosts, okay? A lot of these zoonotic diseases and emerging diseases are vector-borne. So they may be transmitted by fleas or mosquitoes, something of that nature. Next time we'll talk something about OIE. We talked about touched on before with the World Organization of Animal Health and WHA, with the World Health